We grow up learning a simple rule for financial success. Take your loose change, drop it in a bank, and keep it safe. Most people carry that rule into adulthood. We stick to our budgets, cut unnecessary expenses, and stash away whatever is left. Yet, despite following these rules, many find that their bank balance stays the same, while the cost of living moves further out of reach. Relying solely on a savings account cannot build wealth. Over time, a safe approach actually slows down your financial growth and makes long-term security harder to achieve. If the golden rule of saving is keeping people from moving forward, we need to look at the actual mechanism required to build wealth. A savings account functions as a static storage unit, not a wealth creator. Treating it as the final destination for your money keeps true financial independence out of reach. Money doesn't exist in a vacuum. A dollar saved today buys less next year because its value is constantly tied to the shifting state of the broader economy. This chart tracks a cash balance over 10 years. The falling trend line represents purchasing power. Inflation acts as a constant downward pressure, eroding what that money can actually buy over time. When we overlay the average interest rate of a standard savings account, the gap becomes clear. The interest earned fails to keep pace with the rising cost of goods, resulting in a net loss of value. Wealth creation requires moving that money into investment assets. These are designed to grow at a rate that can drastically outpace inflation, turning stagnant cash into a productive asset. The timing of that shift is critical. If we delay investing by just 5 years while waiting to save enough, the compounding effect has less time to scale, resulting in a significantly smaller final balance. Mathematically, a savings account lacks the growth necessary to protect the value of your labor. It functions like a bucket with a slow, constant leak. Beyond the math, there is a behavioral shift that occurs based on how we manage our resources. Focusing entirely on saving forces every financial decision to be about subtraction. We spend our energy finding things to cut and ways to live on less, which eventually creates a mindset of scarcity, where the goal is simply to avoid losing what we have. Wealth builders take the opposite approach. They focus their energy on expansion, finding ways to increase their total income rather than just managing their limitations. This involves a shift towards growth, such as learning high-value skills or starting side businesses to create multiple, diverse sources of revenue. This diagram shows how that income is deployed. A small portion goes into a reserve, but the majority enters a feedback loop. This money is used to acquire assets that independently generate their own returns. Unlike a savings account, these assets work as a dedicated workforce. As the loop accelerates, the assets generate more capital, which is then recycled to create exponential growth without requiring more daily labor. Moving toward financial independence requires shifting from a strategy of defensive storage to one of active multiplication. This doesn't mean saving is a mistake. It is simply a matter of identifying the specific function a savings account is meant to serve. Look at this schematic of a wealth-building strategy. On the left is the shield. This is your cash reserve, a defensive tool used strictly for short-term stability and unpredictable emergencies. A healthy portfolio uses the shield to protect against disaster, which allows the engine on the right to focus on the aggressive growth of capital. The goal is finding a balance. Save a defined portion for security, then immediately move any remaining capital from passive protection to active multiplication. The earlier that engine starts running, the more capital it can generate. Over time, this growth scales to a level that labor alone cannot reach. A vault keeps money safe, but it also keeps it from growing. Real wealth requires taking money out and finally giving it a job.